Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle the huge transformation that's been happening in the world of IT. And to do that, we're using materials from HPE's certification guides to really map out this journey, from those old school humming server rooms to the super flexible cloud services we have now. All right, let's just dive right in. I think the best way to understand where tech is going is to ask a simple question about what it's leaving behind. So, what on earth is happening to those buzzing server rooms that used to be the heart of every single business? Why are they kind of disappearing? Well, to answer that, we've got to look back a little. The old way of doing IT, honestly, it was hitting a wall. The business world was demanding speed and flexibility that the old model just couldn't provide. So let's compare the two, side by side. And here it is, the problem in a nutshell. Traditional IT meant you had to spend a ton of money upfront on servers and hardware. This created this really rigid system that was a nightmare to change and took forever to grow. Modern IT, it completely flips the script. You pay for what you use, you can scale up or down in minutes, and you can deploy new stuff almost instantly. The old way just couldn't keep up. So, what really kicked off this massive change? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm of four incredibly powerful trends that came together and completely redrew the map for technology. Let's break them down. Okay, first up, and this is the big one, cloud computing. At its heart, it's a simple idea. Instead of owning and running all your own computers and servers, you just rent them. You access all that power as a service over the internet whenever you need it. And this right here is the real game changer. It works just like your power bill. You only pay for the computing juice you actually use. This pay-as-you-go model, pushed by giants like AWS and Azure and even hybrid approaches like HPE GreenLake, suddenly made top-tier technology available to everyone, not just companies with deep pockets. The second force is big data. All of a sudden, we started collecting an unbelievable amount of information from everywhere: websites, phones, sensors, you name it. And these piles of data got so huge and so messy that our old software just couldn't keep up. It was a massive headache, but also a massive opportunity, which leads us perfectly to our third force, AI and machine learning. Look, if big data is the rocket fuel, then AI and ML are the engines. These are the brains that can actually dig through all that data, find the hidden patterns, and make smart decisions without a person having to tell them what to do. And we're not talking about sci-fi robots here. This is real, practical stuff happening right now. Every time you talk to a chatbot for customer support, that's AI. Or when a factory system can predict that a machine is about to break down, that's AI turning a mountain of data into real, automated action. And that brings us to our fourth and final force, edge computing. Now, this one kind of turns the whole cloud idea inside out. Instead of sending all your data way off to some central cloud to be processed, you do the computing right where the data is being made, right at the edge of your network. Think about your smartwatch. It's analyzing your heart rate right there on your wrist. It doesn't have to send that data to a server on the other side of the country and wait for an answer. And that's absolutely critical for things that need to happen in the blink of an eye, like a self-driving car making a decision, where any delay, any latency is a huge, huge problem. So you have these four massive forces all converging at once. They didn't just give us new tools, they gave us entirely new blueprints for how a business can even operate. The old IT rulebook, that got tossed right out the window. Now this chart breaks down the main flavors of cloud services. The easiest way to think about it is on a scale of do-it-yourself to do-it-for-me. At the bottom, you have infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. You get the raw parts, the servers, the storage, and you build on top of that. One step up is platform as a service, or PaaS, where they also handle the operating system for you. And at the very top, you have software as a service, SaaS. Think Office 365. You don't manage anything. You just log in and use it. It's all done for you. So beyond what kind of service, businesses also have to decide where their cloud lives. Do they go with a public cloud, sharing massive data centers with lots of other companies for amazing scale and low costs? Or do they build a private cloud, their own dedicated setup, which gives them total control and security, but it costs a lot more upfront? But you know what? For a lot of companies, the answer isn't one or the other, it's both. And that's exactly what hybrid cloud is all about. It's a model designed to give you the best of both worlds, letting you mix and match public and private cloud services to get the exact setup you need. Okay, so we've been talking a lot of theory. Let's make this real. how does all this actually play out in the real world? We can get a pretty clear picture by looking at how a major company like HPE actually puts these new blueprints to work for its customers. So if you look here, for each of those big trends we talked about, there's a specific tool for the job. For that big shift to a cloud-like experience, you have platforms that offer flexible, pay-as-you-go services. For AI and machine learning, you have specific tools built to handle all that data and find insights. And for the edge, you've got these compact, rugged computers made to work right where the action is. Here's a perfect little story of how it works. So, you've got a factory, and they need to spot tiny errors on the production line the second they happen. Sending all that video data to the cloud and back is way too slow. So what's the fix? They put small, powerful computers right there on the factory floor. And the result? Instant, real-time analysis that catches problems immediately. That's the power of the edge. And you can see how different tools are made for different cloud models. Think about a big bank. For them, security is everything, right? So a private cloud solution makes a ton of sense. Now, think of a brand new startup. They need to be nimble and keep costs down, so tools that work in the public cloud are a perfect fit. And for a big company that needs both, that's where a hybrid solution really shines. And this gets to the most important point of all. There is no single best cloud. It just doesn't exist. With all these options out there, every business has to make a strategic choice about what its future looks like. And it really all comes down to a balancing act. So how do you choose? Well, it all comes down to what you value most. If you're in an industry with strict regulations and security is your number 1, 2, and 3 priority, you're probably looking at a private cloud. If your demand goes up and down like a yo-yo and you need to watch every penny, public cloud is your friend. But if you need a little of column A and a little of column B, that balance of security and flexibility, then hybrid is almost always the answer. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? It's about having your cake and eating it too. You get to keep your most important sensitive data under your own roof with total control, but you still get to tap into the incredible power, scalability, and flexibility of the public cloud. It's about getting what you need without making a big compromise. And that really leaves us with one final thing to think about. As these huge trends just keep getting bigger, more data, smarter AI, a growing need for instant processing at the edge, the choices we make about our digital foundations become more important than ever. So the question is, what kind of foundation are you going to build for what comes next?